So Apple just wrapped up their iPhone 14 far out event, and let me tell you, it really was far out. These are my first impressions to everything that was announced today. If you like the sound of that, make sure you hit the like button so we could share this with more people. So Apple opened up the event this morning with the Apple Watch Series 8 and the Apple Watch SE. And honestly, there's not too much with those products to talk about. With the Series 8, it's pretty much identical to the Series 7, except it has features that are really tailored to women more or less in the ovulation cycling, and then there's a couple other features as well. But one of the most standout features that you get with the Apple Watch Series 8 that also comes to the SE is car crash detection, which obviously no one wants to be in a car crash, but if you are in a car crash, this should hopefully help you if you're not able to pick up your phone. I kind of found this to be like the most boring part of the entire keynote because I personally don't care for Apple Watches. Like, I mean, I have the Series 4, but I don't have any plans to update anytime soon, so there wasn't really much there that drew me in for the Apple Watch Series 8 or even the SE. Oh, and you know the craziest thing? The SE now has a back that looks pretty much the same as the rest of the unibody. That's amazing. That's like a great new feature, I guess. My gripe with the Apple Watches is, as far as health tracking goes, yeah, it's really an awesome product. You have the health sharing features built into it. You have the fitness sharing, and you have Fitness Plus and things like that that really make it special. But compared to a fitness product like the Whoop, I don't really see too strong of a comparison. I guess each iteration they're getting stronger and stronger features to make it stand out as like the top fitness watch, but I don't really care for them here. And yeah, I work out every day, and when I do have my Apple Watch on, I really want to close the rings that I do have, but still, I don't really care for these new iterations. I'm not going to buy every single one of them. But obviously for some people, you may want the Series 8. It really is a great iteration above the Series 7. It's just not for me. And that goes the same with the SE. The SE is now only $249, which really is a fantastic starting price for the Apple Watch. Quite frankly, I think it's the watch that everyone should go with because you don't really need all the bells and whistles. It's literally just a watch that tells you the time, it gives you your notifications, and does fitness tracking. You don't need all the bells and whistles. So I feel like that is the one that should appeal to the most people, and quite frankly, if I ever get another Apple Watch, which it's honestly not looking too good, I'll probably just get the SE. And honestly, those two products just kind of were checking the marks of what needed to be announced today because they really fell by the wayside when the Apple Watch Ultra got announced. Now, this is supposed to be the woolly mammoth, both in size and metaphorically, for the Apple Watch series. And I gotta tell you, before we even jump into anything, I hate the way it looks. I think this thing is so unbearably ugly, and I would never ever put that thing on my wrist. Now, of course, I do have to see it in person, and of course, it's not really meant to look the flashiest. It's meant to be like rugged and things like that, but I don't like it. Now, that being said, I do like some of the features that it has. I like the extra action button they added. I like the added speakers that are in there, and overall, I do like the flat edge of the top, but it's just not for me. It's flat at the top, and then it curves like it has like a gut or something. I do not like what they did here. I just think it looks very ugly. But again, that's obviously not the point of this watch. They're not going for flashiness. They're going for the most fitness, most advanced pro features for hikers, divers, and things like that, which honestly, I am none of those things, so it doesn't appeal to me even more. And besides that, the thing is 49 millimeters, which looks like a freaking clock on your wrist. And yeah, of course, it's got all the goodies. It's water resistant, dust resistant, and all of those things, but really, honestly, it doesn't really matter to me. The only thing I do like here is that the bands are more advanced for not falling off your wrist. I literally had a friend 2 weekends ago that I was in the ocean with his Apple Watch on, and he was swimming, and it fell right off his wrist, and he lost it. So I guess for those that use their watch in those conditions where you're surfing or you're in the water and all those stuff, apparently these bands are supposed to be more resistant, so they'll stay on your wrist better. And I think that's amazing. I think that's something that should be standard across all the Apple Watches because it is kind of easy for them to fall off with the standard bands. And like I mentioned, the only thing that stands out here to me is the action button. I think that's something that should be added to all the Apple Watches because there's nothing ultra or premium or pro about adding a button that helps you do your workouts. As far as that goes, it really is just a ploy for them to upsell. Like, oh, if you want this extra button, just get the Apple Watch Ultra for $799. Which, mind you, for something that's supposed to be their ultra premium product, $799 isn't awful. I honestly thought the Apple Watch Ultra was going to be a little bit worse, but it's still, I would never in my life pay for an accessory for my phone like that. Just literally get the Whoop or get the Apple Watch SE. I really don't think there's many use cases for modern people to just use this thing. Yet the funny thing is there is going to be so many people buying it, and it's pretty crazy. I'm not quite that much of an Apple sheep. The best thing about this watch to me is that it has up to 36 hours of battery life for normal use, and that it has up to 60 hours with the low power mode on. And honestly, that's really good because I don't like to take my Apple Watch off my wrist when I use it, especially with all these sleep features built into it. I don't want to take it off when I'm sleeping. Then again, I also don't want to wear it to bed, so it's like kind of a weird thing going on in my head. But overall, I think that standard of battery life is awesome, and it should be more common in all these products. If Apple could find a way to engineer it into all the products, that would be fantastic. Because when it comes to wearable health, I really care mainly for the battery life of the product so it could stay tracking what I'm doing more. But anyway, I'm getting a little too exhausted talking about the Apple Watches. They're honestly a product I don't care for. Next thing up on this list, we're going to talk about the Airpods Pro 2. I'm not lying when I say my Airpods Pro are my favorite Apple product that I've ever owned. I love the noise canceling, I love the transparency mode, and I think they just fit very comfortably in my ear. The sound quality is great on them, and overall, I just really like them. So to see that it's getting such a massive upgrade with a speaker on the actual case itself and then the loop on the side of it, that is so awesome to me. And then to see that you could now use your Apple Watch charger with this thing, I don't understand at all how that works, especially if it's also compatible with MagSafe and stuff like that, but that's awesome. I really welcome that feature. And then as far as the actual quality goes with them, obviously there's no way to give a first impression of it without trying them on, so I don't know. They say it's increased noise cancellation and it really has that cool adaptive transparency mode. I love the sound of that. That sounds awesome to me. I will definitely be getting a pair of them at some point in the future, but I can't really say much about those features and the quality improvements because I haven't heard them yet. So that's something I'm very excited to get my hands on. I probably will be getting them soon, but then again, I don't really want to waste my money when I have these. So we'll see. Some point in the future, I'll get them. And then as far as iPhone accessories, that's pretty much it because the big star of the show was the iPhone. So Apple opened up by announcing the new iPhone 13. Wait. No, I mean 14. I think. Honestly, I really couldn't tell because they are literally the same thing. The iPhone 14 series is literally the iPhone 13. I mean, same chip and everything, just with an extra size and some new connectivity features and a better camera slightly. Believe me when I say we are going to get to satellite connectivity, but I'm going to get to that after the iPhones because I think that's probably the most important thing they announced today. But all jokes aside, the iPhone 14 is literally the iPhone 13 just now in a plus size. And I'm not really complaining about that because the iPhone 13 was a fantastic phone. And to see that they're now offering a 6.7-inch model starting at $899, I really honestly do applaud that. And honestly, even though they don't have an iPhone 14 mini in the lineup, which mind you, the iPhone 13 mini was my all-time favorite iPhone, it's okay because they're keeping the iPhone 13 series around starting at $599. So honestly, if you wanted an iPhone mini, you're still getting the same exact processor, pretty much fairly similar cameras, all for $599. It's really an awesome deal. That's why I'm not too mad that they didn't announce an iPhone 14 mini because if you already have the iPhone 13 mini and it's literally the exact same as the iPhone 14s, there's really no complaining on my end. Okay, obviously they are not identical. There's a couple things we could talk about here, like that it's fully eSIM and there's no SIM card slot in the US. There's car crash detection built into this phone, and there's some improved low light shots, which is important because on the iPhone 13s and the iPhone 12s, low light kind of sucked, both on the ultra wide and the regular wide. So that's, I guess, something new about it. Oh, and I guess there's new colors, which aren't really anything special to me. Like the new blue is okay. I like it because it's similar to the iPhone 13 Pro's blue, but that's really it. I mean, the purple doesn't look too good on this model. The midnight's the pretty much exact same as last year. The starlight's the same. And the red, I don't know if I like it yet. I'd have to see it in person. It looks a little more candy or like Fiesta red than the iPhone 13s did, which I don't get why the iPhone 13s had like the perfect product red. But anyway, that's kind of beside the point. It's pretty pathetic to say that in the iPhone 14 promo page, one of the standout features is that you could customize your lock screen with this new iOS 16 update. That just goes to show how little of an update they actually have with this phone. But that is pretty much all I have to say about the iPhone 14s. I really do like that they now have a 6.7-inch model that's more affordable for everyone, and I think that's probably going to be the top seller selling iPhone this year because it's just a great product at a great price. But that's all beside the point, because the coolest announcement today as far as hardware goes is the iPhone 14 Pro and the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Man, I gotta tell you, I was very skeptical when I saw the leaks and the rumors about this pill with the hole cut in the middle, that weird sort of thing that was replacing the notch. I didn't like it, and I was scared how they were going to implement it because it looked fatter than everything else. It didn't fit quite on the status bar, so I didn't really like the implementation, but all of that went to the wayside when they showed the demo of Dynamic Island, which I gotta tell you, saying Dynamic Island as an iPhone feature is like the weirdest thing. I would have never thought they would have called it that, but it is so cool in implementation. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. So something that Steve Jobs really stood for was integrating software and hardware in such a way that it felt so seamless and magical, and that mission is felt through and through with the implementation of Dynamic Island. Like, yeah, it's a notch. No one wants to see a notch. No one likes having that protrusion on your screen, but they actually made it a feature this time. I'm not gonna lie, I absolutely love it, and if you're gonna have a camera on your screen, this is the best way to go about implementing it. So it turns your camera and the necessary sensors for Face ID into a literal bubble that shows your notifications. And honestly, when I'm looking at the demos of when a notification bubble appears from the notch, it really makes it feel like you're holding a phone that doesn't have any protrusions at all. I also love that it implements some of the iOS 16 features like the live action stuff that you get on the lock screen, but it's actually in your status bar now, because I always felt like the status bar needed a big upgrade, and this is the one. My only question that I'm curious about as far as this goes is, how is it going to handle all notifications? Are all of them going to pop out in black like that, or are they going to stay that translucent gray? Because quite frankly, I feel like all notifications should now pop out from the notch instead of just coming down, but they only showcased it with like the live action features and the phone calls. They didn't really show it for all notifications. So I mean, that's not a deal breaker, but I feel like that would look really awesome with these phones, so hopefully we see that. If not, again, it's not the end of the world. The only question I have now is, are they ever going to implement this into macOS? Are they ever going to implement this into other products like the iPad or even the lower end iPhones? Because they just recently put the notch on the MacBook Pros, which already have mini LED, so it makes me wonder if in the future we're going to see the same pill cutout that has the Dynamic Island feature built in, because that would honestly be really cool to see on the Macs as well. I'm not going to hold my breath for that, but I feel like it just makes sense there as well. And other than that, Apple announced the only other feature that was making me still want to jailbreak my device, and that's an always-on display finally coming to the iPhone Pros. And of course, they did it in the most Apple fashion. It's unlike any always-on display that I've ever seen. Instead of just going full black with the time and a couple of your notifications, this just dims your actual lock screen so you still see your photo in color. And it's doing so by bringing the ProMotion screen all the way down to 1 Hz, which is pretty crazy. So it's literally like always on display, check. Battery percentage back, check. Widgets on the iPhone, check. Apple is literally just killing any reason I ever had to jailbreak a phone. So needless to say, just those 2 features alone make me want to throw this phone in the dumpster right now. But obviously I'm not going to do that, and actually, you know, no iPhones were harmed in the making of this video. But anyway, those 2 are the most important things to me, and obviously the cameras are important, but that section always kind of bores me. The camera's got a big improvement. If you want to see someone talk about the cameras more in depth, go check out MKBHT's content or someone like Telosive Tech. Case in point, camera's got a lot better. I really like the adaptive stabilization. I really like the improvements to cinematic mode. I'm currently filming on a Sony ZV-E10, but when I do get the iPhone 14 Pro, I'll probably use it as a B-roll camera, because that's what I'm kind of already doing with my 12 Pro Max and my 13 mini. But case in point, camera's got a lot better. Other than that, the screen's got a little bit brighter, and they updated the colors to now have a purple option, which is absolutely the color that I'm going to be ordering. But yeah, that just about wraps up the event. You have the Apple Watch Series 8, the Apple Watch SE, the Apple Watch Ultra, the AirPods Pro 2, the iPhone 14, and the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max. But there's one more thing, and that's satellite connectivity. I truly feel like satellite satellite connectivity done in this way is one of the best features Apple has ever announced. And it's not the best because it's the most innovative from like a product standpoint or anything like that. It's one of those features that is up there with the invention of the safety belt. I can think of a million practical use cases because I live in a rural area where there's a lot of areas where there's no service whatsoever. God forbid if I got into an accident in one of those areas, not only would crash detection save me, but if I didn't have any connectivity, I could easily call in EMS now with satellite connectivity. It's truly genius, and obviously you're not going to be able to text your family or anything like that on it, but this is the start. This is the bare bones, the minimum, the most important thing ever. To be able to call for help in the middle of nowhere when you have no service and have someone come find you out there, that is truly revolutionary, and it's going to change the world. Like, obviously I'm excited for the iPhone 14s, the iPhone 14 Pros, and the Airpods Pros, but none of that really matters nearly as much as satellite connectivity. For instance, my dad just went on a fishing trip in the middle of the ocean. And on those fishing trips, you go miles and miles out in the dead middle of nowhere. And God forbid, what if something happened to the boat? How would anyone ever come find them? Well, that's honestly a thing of the past with something like the iPhone 14s. Satellite connectivity, all you need to do is just point your phone at the sky. If you're in an open area, it's going to work. And that is something so awesome. Now, not many of us are going to find ourselves in predicaments where we need EMS or any sort of emergency services out in the middle of nowhere, but if we did, our phones are now here to save us. I'm not kidding when I say this is high-key the most important feature that Apple has ever announced. Especially at this scale, like, yeah, Apple Watches can detect heart attacks and things like that, but iPhones are in majority of people's pockets. So to see the future is going to have satellite connectivity is so amazing. And now it's definitely going to be a standard, and it's going to come to more products like Androids and things like that, which obviously there probably is some privacy concerns with that, but who cares? This feature is way too important in case of emergencies. So yeah, I truly love what they did here, and honestly, this event was just a straight up banger. I think I'm gonna get the regular size iPhone 14 Pro in purple. I've never actually owned the regular size iPhones. I've only owned the Max or the Mini, which is pretty crazy. So I think this year I'm just gonna go for the regular one. But yeah, that's really it. I'm excited for the phones to come out. I'm excited for the AirPods to come out, and I can't wait to see what's next from them. So let me know what you think down in the comments. Did you like this event? How'd you feel about Dynamic Island? I'd love to hear about your thoughts on all of these things down below. And with that out of the way, I'm Jerry. Thank you so much for coming out to this video. If you liked it, make sure you hit the like button so we could share this with more people, and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with everything I post. Anyways, thanks for watching.